Alright, so we got to hear about some of the development going on around us. And this month's theme is development. So the next presenter, Dale, he's a representative from St. Paul's Church. And he's going to be talking about some development in St. Paul. And we're obviously running a little late. Any of you have to leave, don't feel bad, just go ahead and do it. But we are going to be running late tonight. If you have family or whatever that you need to go to, we'll understand. Or if you're hungry, we got lots of food left.
Hey Dale, can you pass this around for your St. Paul's?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, good evening. I know it's a long evening. My name is Dale Moore, and I'm a member of St. Paul's United Methodist Church. We're up on 14th and 3rd Avenue. We've been there for over 100 years, and I'd like to share with you some of our exciting news. We've been working on a facilities master plan for some time, and we want to implement our first phase. So I want to share with you what our facilities master plan is, and in particular focus on our first phase. Just a minute. I've been sitting here long enough. I need a drink of water. I might add, we're really excited about what's happening in the overall area. The Med Quarter does butt up to St. Paul's property at 13th Street. So we think the Med Quarter is a real positive thing. Some of the things that Cole College has been doing over the years to make improvements, very positive thing. What Mount Mercy is doing with the brownfields, even though it's a little ways from us, it's still a very positive thing. And what you all have been doing in Wellington Heights, extremely positive. And I haven't been here to hear one of the police reports, but I think the data that you reported tonight was extremely positive. Congratulations for that. We're glad to be in your neighborhood. I'm going to get to the master plan piece really fast, but just like Phil, I got some opening stuff. We have a committee. I'm the chairperson of our building committee, and some of you may know our senior pastor. This lady right here, Pastor Sherry Hill. She was our associate pastor, and then a year ago she became our senior pastor. She's actually on vacation right now. Otherwise, she would be here with me. We have a long history in Cedar Rapids. Been here since about 1850. We were at a couple other locations until about 1912. And there's a group of people who decided they needed to move out to the edge of town. And so 1914, we opened up our first facility, which is the half-round piece of the church that we've been by St. Paul's. It was originally designed by Louis Sullivan, so it has historic nature to it. But the true story is Louis Sullivan had a lot of doodads on the church, ornate stuff, and the church didn't want to pay for it, so they asked him to take it off, and he said no. So they bought the plans from him, and there's actually another architect who is the architect of record. But most of the Sullivan-esque elements are still there at the church, and it's still kind of recognized as a Louis Sullivan church. In the 1960s, we had the education wing. It's got that L-shaped piece. And we've done a lot of remodels here and there since then, but we haven't had a major makeover for over 50 years. And we think it's time for a major makeover. These things don't come about real quickly. Churches move slow and deliberately. And I'll just share a few of this stuff with you so that you know we just didn't jump into this last week. We had a study committee that studied for 2 years. And the major conclusion was in order for us to carry out our ministries, and that's what we do, we're a Christian-based church, so our mission really is to make disciples for Jesus Christ. That's our mission. Facilities just help us do that. That we really needed to get into the 21st century. So we needed to look like we were a modern church, but we have this historic element that's still setting in. So what they said was we were missing 4 major pieces. We didn't really have a welcoming space or a gathering space. We didn't even have a main door. We had a whole bunch of doors. We were lacking specific education space, particularly for children's ministry and for youth ministries. We didn't have any recreation space. And it is controversial whether churches should have recreation space, but we decided we should have some recreation space. And then our contemporary worship space wasn't really working the way we wanted it to. So when we became a committee, we decided we had to have a process. Everybody has to have a process. Step 1, we did a master plan. And then step 2, we're going to implement the master plan in phases, all the way through construction. That's 2, 3, and 4, actually. What's the scope? Well, we want to deal with the hospitality space, we want to deal with education space, the recreation space, and the contemporary worship space. But we also have to make, we have a house that we own. It's on 3rd Avenue. Not very good condition, by the way. We have to have a long-term solution for that. We have an annex. It used to be a doctor's office. It's outside the historic district. It's in our back parking lot. We need a long-term solution for that because it has a useful life. And then we just have a lot of upgrades to do within our existing facility. They're very outdated. So, what's our committee been doing? Well, in 2013, we just kind of studied. We visited other churches. We talked to a lot of people in our congregation. We talked to what I call stakeholders, like the Affordable Housing Network and other MedCorps, just a lot of different people that surround us. Visited other churches. We got utilities in the alley we had to study, and a number of other things. We actually investigated some off-site opportunities, not moving the entire church, but like maybe the recreation space. None of those came about, by the way. Then in 2014, we thought we ought to get busy and prepare our master plan, so we hired an architect. We hired Newman Munson Architects. We did open it up and we interviewed. We have a lot of church experience. And in fact, Dave Zbrodnik, he actually lives in Wellington, Tennessee. His office is in Iowa City, but he lives here in Cedar Rapids. He's very interested in bringing St. Paul's, keeping St. Paul's here in Wellington. Part of our process was to have some involvement congregations, so we did that through a couple of different workshops. When you're doing a master plan, it's part of the process to look at options. That doesn't mean you're going to do them, but you need to look at it. So we actually looked at options. We actually ended up looking at 5 options. I think you'll like the option we chose. So to kind of show you what our option is, this is kind of a bare drawing, and we'll build on it. You can see the outline of our church facility, the round piece, the L shape, which is our education wing. This is 3rd Avenue down here. This is 13th Street, which borders on the mid-quarter, and then 14th Street. Relative to what our property is, I think it shows a little better on the slide, although it's a little dark. Of course, we own the footprint where our building is. Next to that is a playground, and then next to that is this house that we own. It used to be owned by a person named Ray Westrom, perhaps some of you know him. And then the parking lot in the back, we own that. The little building there is that thing we call the annex, and it used to be a doctor's office. There's a 45-foot strip right there that we park on. It's actually owned by HACAP. HACAP is on the other side of 2nd Avenue. And then we have a parking on 14th, we call that our 14th Street parking lot. This area over here, and then a little bit up here. So, we have a three-phase master plan. This is phase one, and it primarily focuses on taking our existing facility that we currently have and upgrading it to a modern 21st century church while preserving the history of our historic 100-year-old sanctuary and part of the building. What it requires is, number one, we plan to purchase the Haycap facility, and we've completed the negotiations for that. We want to move our Parents' Day Out and our Focus program. We want to renovate that facility, put our Parents' Day Out and Focus program, which is currently in our main education building. And so that will free up space to do some of the other things that we want to do for children's ministry and for youth. Item 3, we would build a portico for a drop-off. We're going to try to drive our main entrance to the back, so that our main entrance is in the back. Item 5, and I'll show you some pictures of that later, is a welcoming entry area that'll be 2 stories high. So we'll cut right through our existing building and expand it 2 stories high, so that it's a welcoming space, and I think you'll kind of see how it works when we get into it. I think the other slides will show it better. This is a master plan level floor plan. So in other words, they're just boxes. They're not nice little room layouts or anything like that. These are just boxes. So again, item 5 is that 2-story high welcoming space. So you're going to walk in from what we call the alley side. It'll be a portico, walk in, walk up the stairs, or the little white boxes, an elevator. And then you'll be into this space. We're going to move our offices to number 1. This is a little outdated. 2 and 3 we'll be using. And then 4, and this is...
Are you upstairs or downstairs?
Oh, I'm on the main level.
Okay.
Thank you. I should have said that. Okay. These restrooms will actually go over here. And then this will be still a nursery area. Number 7, we'll be opening up that parlor so that there'll be... Right now there's a big corridor there. We're going to be opening that up so that it'll be a big gathering space. We're going to move our library to item 8. And item 6, minus what's going to be restrooms, will be still a little parlor because you do have weddings and funerals and you need some private space. The upper level, the blue is going to be all children's ministries, and it'll have the number 2 space there is going to be kind of a gathering space. We don't have any gathering space for children. It's just a corridor that you go to your rooms. And it'll actually be able to look down through the atrium, so there'll be light coming through there. 3 is adult ministries. 4 is our sanctuary. And then the lower level, the number 1 items, again, the blue, that will be youth space. So this top one up here will be a very large youth room. We'll have a stage in it, lighting. So if you've ever been to Matthew 25 when they were at their old location, where they had that area, it'll be something like that. And then the 3, that's still adult ministry.
The 2 used to be a kitchen.
2 is still going to be a kitchen. It said the word room, but it's going to still remain
Oh,
a kitchen.
okay.
Yeah, pictures pretty well. So what is phase 2? Well, I don't know when we'll get to phase 2, but phase 2, what we'd like to do is take our 14th Street parking lot and put an outreach center there. It would have adult and youth outreach ministries, including a gymnasium. And it would be something that could be used for community, other churches, our church. We really haven't completed the entire visioning of what that might be. But it would also fill that space back in so that it's not a hole there. And again, it would be driving the parking more to the back, getting it away from the historic corridor.
I think the neighborhood really needs something like that too. That's really great.
So it's just a matter of money.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So then,
So that was the plan, you know, like the medical center, when they planned that on Third Avenue, just never came to fruition. When all the churches were working together.
Right.
Yeah.
right, and then, you know, it's even possible that, you know, maybe some churches have done like a separate 501c3 and gone together and done something together. You know, we could still look at that. It's not feasible for us to pull it off on our own. And then the third phase is just looking to the future. Should we grow? We would need to grow our younger family ministries with an additional contemporary worship space and some more education space. And so it's just kind of shown as a box. And that's on our existing property. It's not acquiring any additional property that's on Third Avenue. So we stay within our own confines. Basically, we're staying with our own confines. Eventually, if we did this, then we could bring the focus of the parents' day out back to the main building. That's the plan. And then that might end up being a parking lot. Working with the city, it looks like we can have enough parking with that. And then we'd also, they like the idea of sharing parking with the medical district, particularly on Sunday mornings when we have the biggest crowd. And we currently actually do that already. But a lot of it never gets used because that's not where the main door is. So we are actually fundraising now for phase 1. Go back to that. Oh, that's right, I put these in here. This is what it might look like if it was all built. And these aren't fancied up to show it to the exact architecture. They're just boxes. But you can see our existing historic building, and then this would be like the atrium Hallway Center. This is our existing education. This is the future. And this over here would be the outreach center. What might it look like? This isn't finalized either, but that's what it might look like from Third Avenue side. Again, historic people like the idea of taking a glass element and separating your historic piece from your non-historic piece. What we like about it also is that it says we are a modern church. You can see us in there. Come in. We want you to join us. That means all of you. So that's where we're at. The backside might look something like that. There's a portico. Somebody said they had to change the girl's skirt was too short, so they after the architect. So that's kind of our story. Questions? How many? I should have asked right away. How many of you have been to St. Paul's for any reason? Oh, that's awesome. Great. I like that. So right now, what we're doing is we're fundraising for phase 1. We have about 80, well, not quite 85% of our goal, but we still think we can do something with less than 100% of our goal. And we're developing preliminary plans, and that has to get all approved by we have a church district that approves it, and our congregation has to approve it. That all gets approved, then we move forward with construction drawings and then eventually construction. Yes?
If you get to the phase 3, you add on to the children's ministry, will you bring back like 2-year-old preschool, 3-year-old preschool?
That's the focus.
Yeah, you're referring to this. I think this year was the first year we have not had preschool since the 1960s.
Right.
And
And
that was a council action or a church council. And I think the reason that happened was that we were just running out of space for our own programs.
right.
And we looked at the 3 programs that we had, and we said the focus program, which is really it's like a Head Start program that's really different than that. It's the best I can tell you. We said that has some uniqueness, and we should keep that. There's not many parents stay out programs where it's really daycare but it's with education. There's education and a daycare element. We thought that was unique. We thought there were a lot of other opportunities for preschool at other locations, and that we were not unique. So that's why we chose that. That's why our council chose that one. At the present time, there aren't plans to bring that back. Yes.
Your church is in the 2nd and 3rd Avenue Historic District,
Correct.
and I wonder if you could comment on what the architect has done to acknowledge that in the design of any additions that are there, and how the church then will also acknowledge that it is in the historic district as it goes forward. And third, the disposition of Ray Western's house whenever you all get to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. When I come back to the third Avenue side, let's see, where did I? Well, I'm going to go clear back. But where the number 2 and 3 are over here, that's where Ray Western's house is at. And what we would like, what we've done is we've talked to the historic district, and we've talked to what's called SAVE. Our trustees are doing this, so I'm not the expert. We've talked to an organization called SAVE CR. And what we'd really like to have happen is somebody would get interested in that house that would want to acquire it and move it to another location. That's what we'd like to see happen with that.
Just to comment on that, some churches have acknowledged the cost of demolition and have just given the house to an outfit like Save CR Heritage.
We would gladly give the house.
Okay, and then they could relocate it to a different lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we'd like to see happen. You know, we actually looked at, I said we looked at options. We actually looked at, we call it going west option, going this way, thinking that, well, maybe we could move the houses over here and fill that gap in that way. But when we talked to the historic district about that, they weren't too much in favor of that. We kind of listened to them when we went north for property acquisitions. We've also talked to these property owners up here. They'd love to sell to us, we just don't have the money to do that.
The car wash is up there.
Yeah, this over here is Jeff Freese's house. That's still an historic district.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about that. We're not talking about anything in the historic district.
So is Western's house in the historical district?
Yes, it is. As is our church.
Well, I really hope you can say, I'm sure y'all know that that was part of the 200, that was a farmstead, that was a house of a farmstead of a 200-acre farm that when people farmed in this area. And the people who originally owned it were from New York State. And the foundation stone
Yeah,
from Anna
it's an interesting house.
Yeah, and then the foundation from
Built out many
Anna
times.
Yeah.
So, then I didn't answer the other part of your question, Robin. You said how we acknowledge being an historic district. I'm not quite sure what that actually means, but let me go.
Well, one thing
We
would
have- we
mean
have-
consulting with Historic Preservation Commission for one thing. That's what it would.
Right. Well, anytime we do anything on the outside of the church, then the historic district has jurisdiction. We have to get approved to do what we're doing. So far, the indications are, we've actually talked to the state historic people as well, because there is some opportunities for historic tax credit in the state of Iowa, for just the work you do on your historic piece, not, even though this church doesn't pay taxes, the money's available for that. So we're interested in that. Both groups have told us that they like this idea of having a glass element separating the historic piece from the other piece. They've also told us they like the idea of driving the parking to the back of it. They've also told us they like the idea of filling in 14th Street parking lot with another facility that's designed to blend in with the facility recognize it's gonna be a new building, so it's not gonna be an old historic building, but they like the idea of filling that in because it removes that gap that's set in there. So I don't know if that answers your question. That's the best answer.
The
I
other
guess.
part of it was, what has your architect in designing the new construction, has that been designed in a way that would acknowledge the historic character of the original building?
Well, the only thing that's new is this right here, is the rest of it's existing. That's this face out here is the only thing that's actually new. And so that's what, it's not called approval, it's like it's a certificate of, there's a certificate you have to get from the historic district for the exterior parts of the building. Now, if we go to the state and get them involved with the tax credits, then they're interested in the exterior and the interior. So there will be a lot considered. That's the best answer I got.
Great.
So come and keep visiting us. We're excited to be here. You know, there's a lot of the mainline churches that are in downtown areas. They decided to go to the perimeters, and we decided we were not going to do that. We've been kind of a 7-day church for 100 years, and we plan to continue to be here. So please come and join us anytime you want. Thank you.